Welcome to the That's Good Broncos prediction episode. A little bit different today because my family celebrates Thanksgiving on Friday now. So ran out of time, couldn't do the regular prediction episode, but I got Will Keys here with me. We're going to look at the Broncos. We're going to look at the Chargers, the matchups, offense versus defense, Teddy, Herbert, X factors maybe, and determine a winner of this game. It is important for both teams. Chargers coming off a big win over the Steelers. Broncos coming off a big win in the bye week, which means nothing bad happened. They extended two of their best receivers, Courtland, Sutton, Tim Patrick. Today's episode, though, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up at DraftKings to take advantage of their offers. And it is Black Friday weekend, the Bench Warmer Brew sale. The 25% off sale is good through the weekend. So it's the biggest sale we will offer through ever. So if you're going to get coffee, if you want to get coffee as a gift for Christmas, stocking stuffers, do it this weekend. And also the t-shirt sales are on pre-order now for a week only. So if you want the Bench Warmer Brew t-shirts, you got to go get that pre-order now. They'll be delivered in 3 to 4 weeks. So probably not in time for Christmas, but we got to do the pre-orders. That's just how they work.
Yeah, maybe in time for New Year's.
Yeah. New year, new brew. Okay, Will. Where do you want to start? Broncos offense versus Chargers defense, or Chargers offense versus Broncos defense?
Let's talk about the Chargers offense a little bit.
Okay. You
Because
mean
it's pretty
Austin
good.
Eckler?
Austin Eckler, yeah. Funny thing about Eckler is he's got the 7 rushing touchdowns, as you can see there, but he's also got 6 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
Which is really something. I think he scored 4 in the Sunday night game last week.
2 of each, I believe.
2 of each. He is a really impressive back. I never thought that he was going to be like a quality lead guy in the backfield.
Yeah, me neither.
Especially without Melvin Gordon. But it turns out he can do just fine. He's a perfect fit, I think, in that offense. So he's got 13 touchdowns overall. Justin Herbert, 7.4 yards per attempt, pretty good. But when you throw in the 200 rushing yards that he has too, and a couple of touchdowns, like, you really got to watch out. And he got 90 of those against the Steelers.
Yeah.
He is shockingly, deceptively fast. And I don't say that because he's white. I say that because he's like 6'6".
Yeah. He's 6'6", and he has long hair. And you never think the long-haired QB is going to be that fast.
No, you think it's going to slow him down,
Yeah.
but it's exactly the opposite. It's like a sail on a sailboat. It just catches the wind and it pushes him forward. Yeah, so, when you think about it, he's all the things I think that Teddy Bridgewater is not. Teddy's not fast. He doesn't have a big arm. He doesn't get the ball downfield to his receivers. Doesn't really convert on third down. Herbert's got a lot going for him, whereas Teddy, I will talk about it in the Broncos offense part of it. But there's a lot to like on this Chargers offense, and they're dangerous, and they go for it on fourth down a lot. They're 11 out of 18 on fourth down conversions.
The Chargers could be on their own 1-yard line with 4th and 15 staring them in the face, and Staley would be like, I think the analytics say we go for it here, guys.
If the math tells them to go for it, you go for it. And I think that's a reason. That's a big reason why they play so many close games. Like, the Chargers have been in all but 2 of their games have been decided by 1 score. And 5 of their 6 wins have been fourth quarter comebacks. So I think, that gambler mentality keeps them in games, and it kind of occasionally it'll keep the other team in the game too when it doesn't go well.
It's a double-edged sword, I tell you. I think
is.
Brandon Staley needs to learn when to limit those risks a little bit more. I think that's something he can improve on as a young coach. I love that he wants to go for it all the time, but you've got to read, and it's hard, but you got to read the momentum in the game. And obviously a big conversion can change momentum pretty quickly. But him and Fangio are kind of the opposite sometimes. Fangio in the preseason and early in this season was all about going for it on fourth down. It was like, oh, he's going to come out here and this team's going to be aggressive on offense, aggressive in when they go for it. And then they just dialed it way back. Plus, they haven't been in opportunities where it's made much sense. Right. Staley's just like, no, we're going for it. We're going for it. And he needs to just find that balance there, I think, a little bit.
I think he will. It's his first time as a head coach. And I think his approach this season was, I'm going to be the first coach to fully embrace the analytics. And the analytics will tell you to go for it almost all the time.
Yeah.
Like 4th and 6 at your own 30, the math says to go for it. And it helps to have Justin Herbert because that's going to increase your chances quite a bit. But yeah, it can really turn the game on a dime. You don't
let
get it.
The Steelers score 27 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Contribute.
But I like Brandon Staley, and I like where he's coming from most of the time. And I think this particular matchup is always going to hurt for us a little bit, just because you start with Staley, and he was the Broncos linebacker coach back in 2019. I think he becomes the Rams defensive coordinator, does a great job there. A year later, hired by the Chargers. Yeah. So he was our guy, and a really talented guy that they like. I mean, you got to let him seek greener pastures, I guess, but you would like to identify your own talented coaches within the organization and give them a chance before another team does. So you have that part. You have that part of it, and then you have Herbert, who Elway wanted and didn't really get a chance to draft him. I guess you could have traded up, but you kind of let two guys get away there who are doing really, really good things.
I'll say three.
Okay.
The other Mr. Colorado, Austin Eckler, was
right.
in your backyard at Western
Right.
State. Western State, nobody paid attention to little Austin Eckler, who many say, what do they call him, pound for pound? Because they say he's like pound for pound the strongest player in the league or some shit like that. The Broncos identifying really good talent on their own coaching staff has been a huge failure. And I think that's a problem with Vic Fangio, because Vic's got a guy like Ed Donatel, who is their defensive coordinator, who he wants there. And I think that makes you blind to possibly seeing the potential of a guy like Brandon Staley. And then I think the Rams, you're seeing the Rams defense, at least for the first part of this season, their defense is still good, but it doesn't look the same as it did last year. And maybe that's Staley. Although that's not transferring to the Chargers right now, because as you can see there, points against per game, Chargers 27th in the league, giving up 26.5 points per game. Broncos still have the third best defense in terms of points allowed, 18.3, but
it doesn't feel possible.
No. The way this team has played doesn't feel possible. The Broncos, obviously, they just have to score more points on offense. A huge possible mismatch in this game could be the Broncos rushing the ball against a porous Chargers run defense.
Yes.
Are Broncos 17th in rush yards per game? Is that what that is? 111?
Correct, yeah. And
the Chargers there,
how small the margin is between 21st and 17th.
5 yards. Like, who cares?
I know.
6 yards, 5 yards. I think, too, it's like Austin Ekeler, kind of like Alvin Kamara and even Christian McCaffrey, where their rushing yardage total isn't going to look super impressive because they're used so heavily in the passing game, and that's what you want from those guys. So
right.
Chargers use probably Eckler short passing situations as kind of runs. But Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, this should be a big game for them. We should see the Broncos commit to the run. Do you think they will commit to the run?
It depends. Because when you play the Chargers, there's always the possibility that they jump out to like a 17-point lead in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you can't really commit to the run anymore. And so I'd like to see the Broncos maybe get the first possession and really try to set the tone and run the ball down their throats a little bit, because it's a possibility. And another thing I think we've all been clamoring for is you want to get Javonte Williams in a rhythm, because when you get him 10-plus carries, really good things happen. We saw that against the Cowboys. So we love Melvin Gordon. I don't think he's going to be back next year. He's a very good red zone running back, but you spent a second-round pick on Javonte Williams. Please, please, please utilize him correctly. Give him the ball early and often, and obviously really good things are going to happen. And then you get to use play action off of that. We know, because Brandon Staley said it, that you don't need to run the ball effectively to have an effective play action game. But I just know Teddy Bridgewater plays a lot better when the Broncos are running the ball well. So I want to see that happen. I want to see them get off to an early lead and put them in a position where they can choose whether they want to run or pass heavily.
Yeah, if the Broncos don't run well against the Chargers and don't make an effort to do it, I'm just going to be so mad. I'm going to be so angry. Because the game plan, the approach, it's simple. You're not trying to outsmart the Chargers. Just take advantage of their weakness. And the Chargers are beatable. I mean, the last 5 weeks, the Broncos and Chargers have the same record, 2-3. Okay, this is a game the Broncos can win. I don't think many people are going to pick the Broncos to win it, but it's a winnable game for Denver, and the formula is right there, right in front of their stupid faces. And please, please take advantage of it. Beat the Chargers, beat the Chiefs. Give us some hope. Give us some hope. A little bit of hope. Will. Check out this segue. Bradley Chubb might be coming back.
That's right.
Might get a little edge rushing help from the Broncos.
God, they needed that so bad, because Bradley Chubb was Malik Reed was really getting thoroughly blocked by the Eagles, and he was a big reason their run defense looks so bad against Jalen Hurts and Jordan Howard and Boston Scott. He was just getting he's getting swallowed up by Lane Johnson. And, I think there's a place for Malik Reed on this team, probably in third and long situations. But, he hasn't shown much as a 3-down guy. So they, as underwhelming, I think, as Chubb was at times, especially in the pass rushing aspect of, being a 3-4 linebacker, they need him back really badly. And you also got a glimpse at what life is like post Von Miller, because he is so good against the run. And that was such an underrated part of his game that you don't really notice until he's gone. So they have to find a way to do better at that. This is not a game like, against the Eagles where it's going to be a giant factor and the deciding factor. But teams will see that, and teams will see, like, hey, Malik Reed's, not checking in on defense, so we're going to run right at him. And why do it? Why do anything differently if that's going to work every time, which the Eagles exploited?
Oh, they exploited hard.
Did they ever?
Look at all those injuries.
Oh, my God. Adrian Killens, I don't even know who that is.
Don't remember that.
Is Michael Ojemudia ever going to play?
I don't know. I mean, Chubb might be back. We know, AJ Johnson, Alexander Johnson's not coming back. Bryce Callahan maybe at the very end of the season. So, Broncos, like a lot of teams, dealing with injuries. It's an interesting week because they did just pay Tim Patrick and Courtland Sutton, but we want them to feed Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams in this game. So
I don't think it precludes them from doing that. I just think when you do pass, be more aggressive. And it's hard because Bobby Massiat was out and Bowles too. So it makes it a little more difficult to buy time to get down the field. And I understand that part of it because Teddy Bridgewater's getting sacked 3 times a game right now. But you just paid those wide receivers, and you need to send a message like, hey, we're spending, an average of like $14 million on both of you guys. So we're going to give you a chance, whether you're covered or not.
Yeah. I mean, the Chargers do it with Mike Williams all the time.
Yeah.
He's a big, strong receiver. Herbert gives him a chance to make jump balls, and the guy does it a lot in the end zone. Like Keenan Allen, the Broncos have done well against Keenan, but like Mike Williams is, to me, like the bigger, I feel like, problem in terms of defending in this game for the Broncos secondary. I think Pat Surtain, size-wise, can match up with him. I would like to see that matchup. I'd like to see Pat Surtain. He's healthy, right? Like, yes. I get lost in all the injuries.
I know.
Assuming he's healthy, take Mike Williams out of the game, and maybe the Broncos have a chance there. But my point was, do what the Chargers do. Use those good receivers and give them chance deep down the field to turn, instead of a 2nd and 10 and you're picking up 4 yards on the pass. I would rather be in 3rd and 10 knowing you took a shot 20, 30 yards down the field to one of those receivers you just paid.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't feel like it comes regularly until the game is out of hand. Like they're down 2 scores to the Eagles, and they're like, now we're going to open it up. No, just play like you're down 2 scores when the game is tied.
Yeah.
And be aggressive in the passing game. You should be rushing it a lot, but when you do throw, don't just, we're not taking the 3-yard crossing route to Noah Fant. We're going down the field, and we're going balls out, because we're 5-5 and you're a game out of the lead in the AFC West, as silly as that sounds. And you've got an incredible chance, if you want, to win 2 games in the AFC West, as improbable as it sounds. You got the Chargers and the Chiefs back to back. So why not?
Yeah. I guess my concern is that the Broncos are 5-5 and that they are close to getting back into it, which means Fangio is going to be conservative. That the approach is going to be, let's just not lose this. Let's do it safe. And I say that because that's been their MO. Let's be safe. Let's not take risks. And I said the blueprint to beat the Chargers is there based on the Chargers' weakness as a run defense. It's also how the Broncos beat the Cowboys. Like, they've done it. They've done it. And
they took shots down the field.
Do what you did to the Cowboys to the Chargers, and you can win this game. So advantages, Chargers have the QB advantage.
Yes.
Chargers have, I think, the offense advantage over the Broncos defense, but the Broncos offense got the advantage over the Chargers defense. If we're doing this the way we usually do the episodes.
Agreed. Special teams, I think, goes without saying.
Chargers.
Yes. Except for now that they've figured out their kicking situation. That was the Chargers' biggest weakness for sure. And then Washington just handed Dustin Hopkins over on a silver platter for some reason, and the Chargers were smart enough to jump on it.
Yeah. So I think the Chargers have the advantages. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I'm keeping hope, though. I'm keeping hope the Broncos can win. Are there any X factors we're not thinking about that could determine the outcome of this game, Will?
I think you can actually throw on the Chargers as well. Like, you can target guys like I want to see them, kind of just selfishly, I want to see them burn Chris Harris a couple of times. Like, you have the wide receivers to do it. If you put Jerry Jeudy on Chris Harris, a lot, like, bad things are going to happen for Chris Harris. And it's just a matter of getting him the ball because he's going to be open.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Broncos are healthy in the receiving department now.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of it.
You got Jeudy, Sutton, Patrick, Fant, Albert O. Maybe it's a big game for Albert O. He seems to be more of the deep threat than Noah Fant in terms of your tight end position. Maybe there's a mismatch there. If you're pushing Derwin James off to somebody else and Derwin's got to choose between like Fant and Alberto. Like there's some mismatches there for the Broncos in the passing game. I think you're right. That's a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to think too, like it's a different head coach, but the Broncos actually have a pretty good mental edge on the Chargers with Vic Fangio. They're 3-1 against them. They, under Vic Fangio at least, swept them in 2019, came back 21-0 in the first game last year, and then lost 19-16 in the second game of the year in a game where the Broncos didn't really have any corners and they were injured beyond recognition, really, I think, as a defense. So I'm just going to kind of throw that one out of there. Jerry Jeudy dropped about 15 passes from Drew Lock. That kind of leads me to another thing is I don't think it's going to happen. But I think the Broncos should be on Teddy Bridgewater alert and maybe think about, if you get down, he's not going to throw you back into the game. Drew Lock might throw you out of the game, but I think he's your only chance if you get down a couple scores.
Drew Lock, if the Broncos are down?
Yeah.
It's
that time of the season for me.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, show me Drew Lock, show me Brett Rip It and Grip It. I don't care. I just don't care.
And, another thing is we got a good weekend of college football. And I would say if you haven't seen the quarterbacks out there, give it a chance. Take a look because they might not play in their bowl games. This is the last week of the regular season in college football. You got Carson Strong playing locally at Colorado State. Maybe give that a watch. Matt Corral played yesterday on Thanksgiving.
Yeehaw!
Watch out for Kenny Pickett. Desmond Ridder plays. It might have already played if you're listening to this now because he plays at 1:30 Mountain Time.
Oh yeah,
in
the past. It'll be
trying to keep Cincinnati undefeated. So hopefully he played a nice game. Speaking from the future.
Speaking from the future is Brandon and Will. And if I actually could speak from the future, I would tell you to check out DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, because football fans, I'm sure you love all the action-packed, high-scoring, high-flagged football games. But right now, DraftKings has a no-brainer offer. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. You'll be a winner once a single point is scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. You got same game parlays at DraftKings, or if you're like me, you'll do a parlay with QBs, overs, and unders and hit them all on Thanksgiving and win. Oh, I won because I am smart. DraftKings safe, secure, reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash when you want. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code DNVR. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code DNVR this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. And that's it. Will, final prediction.
I'm going to go Chargers. I'm going to pick a one-score game because the Chargers tend to play one-score games.
Sure.
I'm going to say 27-23 Los Angeles.
That feels fair. 27-23. It might be close, but it feels like the Chargers are going to win 27-23, and the Broncos are going to score 14 points in the fourth quarter when the game's kind of out of reach. The Chargers pump the brakes a little bit, and then the Chargers let the Broncos get a little too close, but ultimately they close it out. Maybe
you can hear about most Chargers games, and you'd be right about half the time.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good call then.
But here's the thing. If the Broncos win, everything's back in play for the following week with the Chiefs in prime time.
Sunday night football.
They got to beat the Chargers first. All right, Will, thank you for joining me on a special episode of the Broncos Predictions. Will Keys on Twitter at Guillermo Yaves. Bench Warmer Brew. Don't forget, Black Friday sale through this weekend, 25% off. T-shirt pre-orders happening now.
A great T-shirt, I can attest. That's the favorite one in my T-shirt rotation. I have the yellow one. You have the heather gray. Looks pretty nice too.
Well, that's it for the prediction. We think the Chargers win.
Sadly.
Good night.
John Elway, ACL, only one of them.
Only one of them. Turkeys have more ACLs than John Elway.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
And good